Hey guys, J77 here doing another news vlog, and have been pretty much reading up on before I did a video on it. It's a very interesting article. It has something to do with the stand your ground law, especially with this case, but it has nothing really to do with Trayvon Martin. This has actually happened before the Trayvon Martin incident, but with the verdict that came out today, yesterday that is, it definitely raises the question of stand your ground and whether or not they should be either be reevaluated from a state to state level or just basically repealed altogether. I'm referring to an incident that happened in Houston. A retired Houston firefighter is now facing life in prison after a jury convicted him of murder for gunning down his unarmed neighbor during a dispute over a noisy house party. It also goes on to say Roy Rodriguez, 47, argued he was within his rights under the Texas version of the Stand Your Ground law when he killed Kelly Denderher in 2010. The trial punishment phase, which will include further testimony, was scheduled to begin Thursday. Rodriguez was angry about the noise coming from Denderher's home, where his family was having a birthday party for Denderher's wife and young daughter. Rodriguez went to the home and got into an argument with Denderher, a 36-year-old elementary school teacher, two men who were at the party. In the 22-minute video he recorded the night of the shooting, Rodriguez can be heard telling the police dispatcher, "My life is in danger now, and these people are going to try to kill me." He then said, "I am standing my ground here," and shot Denderher after somebody appears to have grabbed his camera. The two other men was wounded. Rodriguez referenced the Stand Your Ground law is similar to the claim by George Zimmerman, a neighborhood watch volunteer who is citing Florida's Stand Your Ground law in the defense in a fatal February shooting of an unarmed teenager, Trayvon Martin. Rodriguez's case, however, was decided under a different kind of self-defense doctrine. And also in this report, which by the way is been issued by the Daily News, also given by the Associated Press, that the deceased wife had said, "I'm glad that he can't hurt anybody else. That's my main thing." She said outside the courtroom, "I love my husband and I miss him so much." Rodriguez's attorney left the courtroom without speaking to reporters. His family, who sobbed after hearing the verdict, declined to comment, and the attorney did not present any witnesses in his defense. Juries deliberated for about 5 hours after having receiving the case following the closing arguments early Wednesday. During the closing arguments, prosecutors said that Rodriguez started the confrontation, and when instead of calmly asking Denderher to turn down the music, he armed himself with a handgun and a camera and proceeded to harass people at the party. Johnson said Rodriguez lured and provoked Denderher and two other men to come out into the streets and threatened him by brandishing his gun. Rodriguez did not have a concealed handgun license, which is another problem. Denderher and two other men were unarmed, and Rodriguez's wife was never in any danger. Denderher's widow had told the jury that her husband was not a confrontational person. And that was the Daily News, visa by Associated Press. I think the prosecutor made the right call. There's nothing else I can say about it. The bottom line is, if you're Stand Your Ground law, for what I understand, it's supposed to give person the right to use deadly force if their life is still threatened. There is no other way but deadly force to protect yourself. That is something that I understand clearly. However, it's not meant to provoke an attack. It's not meant to be the person that did not meant for you to be the aggressor, and clearly he was. And the camera, which I think he thought was going to help him in this case. First of all, he must have known he was going to get into a confrontation. He must have knew he was going to get to that, because otherwise he would not arm himself with a camera anyway. And it ended up working against him because, frankly, for what the article pretty much stated, he provoked the confrontation. He never really asked to say, could you please turn it down? It's a little noisy. I would appreciate it. I'm pretty sure he probably would have turned it down. And if he didn't turn it down, just call the police. That's what call them, saying, look, they're disturbing the peace. I'm trying to go to work. Me and my wife can't sleep because of the noise. And guess what? They will show up and say, hey, keep the noise down. You're causing problems with the other neighbors. He never did that. He armed himself with a gun, which he didn't have a license for. He went in there, provoked the people to come outside. He initiated the confrontation, period. As a result of that, one person is dead and two was serious wounded. You can't hide on the stand your ground from after that. That's not what the stand your ground is for. And I think with this case, along with the Trayvon Martin situation, I think it is time to evaluate the stand your ground law, what it really means, and how they can be able to fix it so that way people don't abuse it. Because this was clearly a case of abuse of the law, because he thought he can do something and get away with it. There was no clear intention. He had ill intent in mind, and as a result, this what happened. Do I believe that the law should be repealed? I think the law should be very seriously evaluated. I'm not against people defending themselves. That never was my case. You have the right to defend yourself. If you are in a situation where you have no choice but to, go to blow, then you're right. You're trying to protect your body, but it's not meant for you to become a vigilante cowboy and just wield your gun every second you get because you believe your life is in danger, especially when it's you who's causing the problem to begin with. That's not what that law is for, and I think it's time that lawmakers, including people who made up this law, look at this law and ask themselves, did we really set strict grounds of what stand your ground really means? And if not, what can we do to fix it? That's why I really am concerned. They need to really look at these laws, and not just in Florida, not just in Texas, but in all states who have stand your ground. They need to really look at it. I will say this, at least Texas did have some guidelines saying you can't use this law if you're the person who's an aggressor or you're the person who is committing robberies. At least they have some guidelines, but don't make no mistake about it. That's adding with the Trayvon Martin case in Florida. People are looking into their laws. There was just some talks about the law in Florida being reviewed now. Police officers say it's confusing and they don't know what it really means in terms of, should they make an arrest or should they let the person go. Defense attorneys even talking about the law being more racially motivated than anything else. And you have other states actually pulling away from stand your ground laws or even taking steps to repeal it altogether. So don't make no mistake about it. This is a hot issue, and both sides are having a say on these issues as well. What do you think about this? Do you think that that stand your ground law should have some strict guidelines so that way abuse won't come of it? Do you think it's fine just the way it is, or do you think it should be banned altogether? Give me your opinion on this. I'd like to know what you think about it. But until then, this is J77. I will leave a link to the 2 reports. And until next time, take care and be safe.